All right, everybody, welcome back to the Heath Barn. Hope we're all staying warm. It is a little chilly out here in the barn, but we're good. We are barreling through. So, back on our regular schedule here. Had an exclusive interview with Cat Williams last week. Kind of let that simmer all week. Only did one episode, but got to get back to 2 a week here, starting with this one. This episode's a lot of sports talk. I go through the NFL wildcard games, all of them. Talk about all kinds of stuff. Little Jerry Jones, Bill Belichick. How about how the Texans destroyed the Browns on and off the field? Little Matthew Stafford, and so on and so forth. So, go through all those games, give my opinions on some stuff, entertaining opinions, I must say. And then we get to Illinois basketball, just for a little bit, though, because I've been talking about them quite a bit lately. And then we get to the winter warm-up, which is a fan fest over the weekend that the St. Louis Cardinals had. Some of the stuff that I read from that took place, and I give some thoughts on the Cardinals. But again, a lot of NFL sports talk this episode, so a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Heath Barn, and hit it! All right, everybody, we're back after a little, well, I put one out last week. It was an exclusive interview with Cat Williams, and I kind of wanted to let that one simmer for the rest of the week. So, only did one last week. But, back to the regular deal here. We're going to have one on Monday nights, one on Thursday nights, just like we've always done. So, getting back to that, this one's going to be a sports one. Because there's been lots of stuff going on. There's lots of NFL stuff going on. Illinois, although I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Illinois because I did a couple here in the last week or two that have been about Illinois basketball. So I'm not going to talk about that too much. And also this week was the winter warm-up, which for Cardinal fans, it's like they always have it this week in January. And it's like a fan fest. And all the players come back and you get to the general manager and the owner and all that good stuff, they're all there, and you do Q&As. It's just a big fan fest weekend deal, whatever. But when we went 4 years ago, we went in January of 2020. My son was only like 3, but it's really cool. But they had it at a hotel. Now it's like, I don't know. I don't even know where they have it now. They have it like at the stadium. They have it at Ballpark Village, which, whatever. So, but it was... It's a cool event, but we didn't go. But, there's lots of nuggets from there and stuff like that. So I'll spend a little bit of time on that. But the main thing going on here the last few days has been the NFL. So let's get into that. Okay, so we got in the wild card round, the Texans played the Browns. So, and the Texans kicked the crap out of them. So, I thought that was pretty cool, but I did like the whole Joe Flacco story. Now, here's what's funny. Going into that game, the big story was, for whatever reason, it was like Flacco. And I get it, because everybody loves a comeback story, everything like that. Joe Flacco, in my opinion, is an extremely underrated quarterback, because he has a Super Bowl ring. He was extremely durable, and he put up good numbers for the Ravens. Like, they weren't always like a offense first team, but sometimes they were. And the year they won the Super Bowl, he played his ass off through that whole thing, and he led them to a Super Bowl. It was not a Trent Dilfer sitch where it was like, defense got you there. It was Flacco was amazing. So I felt like he's had a great career, good dude, humble, whatever. So it is a great story that he came back and led them to the playoffs and everything like that. But to me, this whole thing revolves around that trade where Houston traded Deshaun Watson to Cleveland for about 82 draft picks. I think 74 of them were first rounders. Just kidding. But it was like 3 first round picks, a third-round pick. I don't know, something like that. But 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a fifth-round pick for Deshaun Watson and a fifth-round pick. Something like that. So it was almost like the Texans saying, like, hey, we're going to beat your ass with this guy that you gave us, and we're going to beat your ass with this guy that you gave us, and we're going to beat your ass with this guy that you gave us. It was just amazing. And the Flacco story was great, and the Browns had a great season. I would call it a great season for them to make it to the playoffs, going through like 5 quarterbacks. Stefanski did great with all that, but it was a reminder. It was almost like a big kick in the nuts to management of the Browns, like just watching them, having to watch that game and see how the guy that you traded for is on the sideline, not healthy, not playing. You still got to pay him like like $100 million, some shit. I don't even know what you have to pay him, but it's a lot. It's a ton. It's like the biggest, however much guaranteed. It's ridiculous. And there's a picture of Deshaun Watson looking at CJ Stroud, giving him like the stank eye and be like, yeah. Because Deshaun Watson was great in Houston, but man, 1 year in Houston is young and good, and DeMeco Ryans is amazing. And CJ Stroud just lit their ass up. And it was, to me, that was the big storyline. I mean, the Flacco thing's great. I'm glad he got to come back. And literally, he did. He led a team to the playoffs, and that's great. But to me, it was all about that trade and the Cleveland ownership and management having to look at that trade and just be like, my gosh, we traded all this for a dude who, even when he's played, he's been garbage, and he's hurt right now. We got to pay him $250 million, and we're watching all these guys that all these picks come to fruition for the Texans, and they're just stomping a mud hole in our ass. So that's what I thought that game was about. Texans are a lot of fun, and I don't see that changing because Stroud's great. Nico Collins, Tank Dell's hurt, but he'll be back. They just, and the defense is DeMeco Ryans is a defense guy. So it's, yeah, they're a lot of fun. So that one was fun for that reason, I thought. That's the big thing about this whole round of NFL games. I thought there was a lot of good storylines. And storylines don't mean shit because it's all about, that's what media is all about, storylines. And I think that's stupid. It's all about just going out and playing, But as a fan, from a fan perspective, you look at that stuff sometimes. So I thought that was very interesting. By the way, the barn, I didn't mention this. Cold AF. It's cold. It's chilly. I am bundled up in her because I don't know where y'all live, wherever you are in the country, but in my neck of the woods, it is 9 below right now. Feels like 9 below. They give you the temperature, then they give you the feels like. It feels like 9 below right now where we are. So it's chilly, and I came out the barn, got the heaters going and got it up to about 50, but I turned the heaters off to record this because background noise and stuff. So it's chilly. I'm bundled up. But hey, wouldn't have it any other way, I guess. Not as chilly as the next game, Kansas City, Miami. Hello. If your helmet gets cracked because it's so freaking cold, whoo-hoo, it's cold. It's cold. That game was just a good old-fashioned ass kicking. Miami, here's what I think about Miami. Started out hot. They, run. They do this and that, whatever, and it's great, but they petered out at the end. Now, Mostert and Waddle being hurt, it was, and Tyreek, I think, wasn't completely healthy at all either. But as somebody who had Mostert, Hill, and Waddle on my fantasy team all year, they got me the championship, but I got my ass kicked in the championship. But it was, I don't know, it's almost like peaking at the wrong time. But I also think that you're going to play the defending champs in their place when it's 15 below with the wind chill, whatever it was. It's a tall order, but you had your chances to win games prior to that would have put you in a different situation in the playoffs. So I like the Dolphins, but it's almost like they remind me of like those teams that Mike D'Antoni. Okay, is this a stretch? I don't think it is. And I just thought of this. I didn't have it written down or anything. Mike D'Antoni, NBA coach, was a great coach. Coached like the Suns when Nash was the point guard and won a couple MVPs. Coached Houston, I believe, when they scored a shitload of points, and a lot of fun to watch. But he didn't win any championships because it never. That wasn't the kind of team. They weren't built to win a championship. They were built to be a lot of fun and score a lot of points and stuff. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a good comparison or not. But it just popped in my head. So hopefully it is. But and Mike McDaniel, your cute little comments, and you're all fun. You're funny, and you make little jokes, and you got your fucking little sweatpants that go up right. You hike them up, and all that's well and good. It's all cute when you're winning, but a lot of talent. You got a ton of talent, and you keep getting beat in the first round of the playoffs or whatever. Then you're gonna end up catching some heat. So because your defense was very good, I do know that. They didn't play great, but the stretch there, the last 6 to 8 weeks, I used them on fantasy, and they were like one of the top 2 or 3 teams. They were a very good defense. So I don't know, but they got a lot of weapons. H-Hands, great. Waddle, I mean, they're just very fast, explosive offense, but I don't know. Seems like a kind of a finesse team, for the NFL, and that doesn't work very well. But so in Kansas City, don't count them out. They had a horrible season, looked like garbage, but Mahomes was Mahomes, man, and it's the playoffs. So they did look like garbage all year, and the offense was terrible. And and I'd tell you something else too. Bieniemy's gone. I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not. But Matt Nagy got fired by the Bears. He goes back to Kansas City, and next thing you know, the offense looks like trash. So I don't know. But then you look at Bieniemy with Washington, it's kind of like So either way, Kansas City did not look like Kansas City this year. But at the same time, man, majority of the personnel is the same, and you get them in the playoffs, and they won the championship last year, and they've won 2, and they're just always right there, and so I wouldn't take them lightly, So they're dangerous. Let's see, what's the next game we got? Oh boy. Okay, then we got Dallas and Green Bay yesterday. I was just like, the whole time, just like, holy shit, man, this is like brutal. I'll say this. I don't know what I expected, but when it was 27-0, it's just like, good Lord, because a lot of people care about Dallas for no reason. Dallas, it's Yankees, it's Duke, it's whatever. People, they get all this attention for no freaking, the Lakers, whatever. They all get all this attention, whether they're good or bad, and it drives everybody else in the country nuts. So they get all this attention. So it's a huge deal when something like this happens. But you blame Dak, you blame McCarthy, and all that, and they deserve some blame. But Dan Quinn's got like 3 head coaching interviews this week, and why? You gave up 48 points. That's not on McCarthy. That's not on Dak Prescott. That's that is the defensive coordinator's Dan Quinn, and it wasn't just yesterday. Like 6 weeks prior to, he was. Dallas's defense just went to shit in a hurry. So, I get it. McCarthy's going to get fired. I mean, that's obvious. And that's fine. I get it. You win 12 games 3 years in a row, and you don't get past the first round. I think no matter what the organization was, it'd be a possibility. But I feel like out of this whole deal with the Cowboys, the number one person to blame is Jerry Jones. He is just this. Oh God, prick was the first word that came to mind, but that's not. I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. But here's the thing: it's all about him. How many owners, as soon as they lose a game, have 100 microphones in their face? I mean, he makes it way too much about him. Obvious. I'm just stating the obvious here, but he is. it's on his watch. He wants to own the team and make all the decisions and blah, 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 blah. And well, guess where's that got you? You haven't, it's been 27 years. Okay, I don't want to say the wrong numbers, but I believe it's 27 years since you've made it to an NFC championship. It's just Jimmy and Barry Switzer, and then nothing. And you want to control everything, and you make it about you, and it's just a mess. And I don't know, I was trying to think of a comparison in another sport. It's not the Yankees. Yankees have won more recently, obviously. It's almost like the Knicks, maybe a little bit, but except not really. It's worse than the Knicks. It's their own thing. They're the Cowboys, and the person to blame with all this is Jerry Jones. So you're the one that hired McCarthy. What the hell did you expect? So because you knew that and then you had Jason Garrett there forever because you knew that you could have your guys you could control and you make all the decisions and blah, 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 blah. And it's just, it's a bunch of BS. It's a mess. I dare to get rid of Dak. Like, who are you going to find better than him? I mean, it's not like he's a top 8 to 10 quarterback in the NFL. So, but man, I bet, hey, it's just, that whole time when that game was happening, I was just like, oh, here we go. Because, it's drama. And people like drama. Green Bay, awesome, man. Youngest team in the NFL. Got hot. They're just, and man, it's almost like their coach, LaFleur, as soon as Rodgers left, he's just like, okay, now I can coach. And he's a hell of a coach. And he's great. And they're good. They're probably going to get their asses handed to them at San Francisco. But, man, what a great, great year for them and showing a lot of promise. Now back to Cowboys. Everybody's like, Belichick. Okay, I get it. And Jerry Jones is going to want to make a big splash. And Belichick's won 6 Super Bowls. So, of course, you're going to want to get possibly the best NFL coach of all time. My only thing is, has anyone watched the Patriots the last 2 years? Anybody? Anyone? This mofo, the year before last, brought in a defensive coordinator to run his offense. Matt Patricia brought him in, and he ran the offense. It's a slap in the face to offensive coordinators everywhere, or anybody that knows a freaking thing about offense. Those jobs are hard to get, and you bring in a defensive guy to run the offense, and guess what? Your offense was shit. Shocker. The Patriots have been extremely dysfunctional the last 2 years on his watch, and no communication between just a shit show over the last 2 years. Now, former Patriots are coming out being like, okay, coach just needs a fresh start and this and that, whatever, and he'll go back to how he was before. He's going to, great. It'd be a great hire for anybody, and that's fine. I can see there, but what if it's not? What if he's just 71 years old and the game's passed him up a little bit and he's stubborn and he's just, you can hire Belichick, that's fine, but I'm just saying, the motherfucker hired a defensive coordinator to run his offense. If anybody else does that besides him, they would have them committed, okay? But if it says it's Belichick, it's like, well, maybe he knows something we don't know. No, because the offense was horrible that year. Horrible. So, I'm just saying, he's 71 years old. Okay, I shouldn't bring up his age, but all I know is the last 2 years, anybody that's watched the Patriots the last 2 years, and if it was anybody besides him, they'd be like, okay, this guy should never coach again. Maybe high school. But because it's Belichick, he's going to get any job he wants this offseason, and that's fine. Maybe he just needs to recharge his batteries in a new situation, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just, look at DeMeco Ryans. Okay, a young guy like that who's just flipped the Texans in 1 year. You could have a guy like that. Guys like that probably don't grow on trees, but there are young, smart, hungry coaches. There are coaches who aren't young, but just need that one opportunity to prove what they can do. Okay, there are a lot of guys like that out there. to just hand it over to Belichick. Maybe it'll work. But again, hashtag had a defensive coordinator run his offense. That's all I'm saying. Woo-hoo. Okay. So, having said all that, I'm sure Belichick will be the coach of the Cowboys next year. I'd almost be surprised if he's not. So, that's my thought. Those are my thoughts on Dallas and Green Bay. Now to, let me turn my little page over here. I know what it is. It's the old Rams-Lions. So, my thoughts on that one. Great game. Another great storyline, man. Unbelievable storyline. Juicier than any of them. Even juicier than the Cleveland-Houston one, I think. Because of the whole Stafford, Goff, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows what that is. So, my thoughts on that. Great game. I bet the over. And at halftime, I'm thinking this is easy money. And then no offense in the second half. So, that's fun. But a couple things that ran through my mind. Detroit, I don't know if the fans were just extremely fired up and just really wanted to let everybody know that they were behind Goff. But booing the shit out of Stafford, I didn't quite get. It's like, okay, he played for you 12 years. He set like all your passing records. Stafford too plays through injuries. He is a tough SOB. Because you know how like some guys like that, you're like, oh, pretty boy, he's got to be soft and all this. No, not Stafford. Stafford is, he's a stud. I have a ton of respect for him. He can sling it, and he is hurt a lot and plays through that. He did it for Detroit all the time. When he played, when you guys were garbage, and he went out there and he played and played his ass off, and you guys just boo as soon as he comes running out, boo, and I was just like, okay, maybe they're just excited. And I hope that's what it was. Maybe they're just excited. Probably, I'm assuming there's some tailgating involved, but I don't get the boo in Stafford unless you're just like, it's more of a organizational thing where we're behind Goff, we're behind our team. McVay, screw him, he bailed on Goff and got, maybe it's one of those things. But I can't think of anything that happened for 12 years that would lead them to booing Stafford that heavily. But either way, whatever. Not that big a deal. So, I guess. But he played great. But it was a great game. I felt like the Lions got completely screwed by that Cowboys game with the whole ineligible receiver, just a joke. NFL officials, just bleh. So that was a joke. Early in the game, there was an offsides call that they blew. That went against the Lions as well, and they got booed out of the stadium, and deservedly so. It was a joke. So it's almost like they overcompensated because Puka Nacua got destroyed there in the fourth quarter on that one pass. And there was no pass interference call. And so that was kind of crappy, for the Rams. But it's not like that, I don't know. That was bad. That was a horrible call. They should have got a flag on that, and they should have kept the ball. But having said all that, it was a great game, and I'm really, really happy for the Lions fans. My favorite, I'm watching George Pickens have a little tantrum on the sidelines now. He is a punk. Good Lord. I'll get to that a little later, I think. But it's 31-17 Buffalo right now. Sorry if I'm being a spoiler. 4:50 to go, but Pickens is just a punk. Threw his helmet up against something and it bounced off and hit somebody else. He's the one who wouldn't block because he saw what happened to Tank Dell. Like he wouldn't block for somebody by the goal line. Jesus. And that's leading me to the Lions I was going to talk about. Like the Lions, my favorite player of all time, my favorite football player of all time is a Lion. It's Barry Sanders. And, I mean, Pickens probably got held there. But still, he's just an ass. He just acts like an ass. And one of my other favorite players is Calvin Johnson. first ballot Hall of Famer, both of them. Calvin Johnson, not a diva at all. Like people like George Pickens. He's not a diva. He just went out there and kicked ass and kept his mouth shut, kind of like Barry. But Barry's the man with that kind of stuff. But so I'm happy for the Lions. I'm happy for Detroit because they haven't won a playoff game since Barry's been playing for him. So fun game. Again, the Stafford thing was a little bit confusing, but man, Stafford, he's just such a tough son. I mean, they showed in between his knuckles, he's like bleeding and it's swollen on his throwing hand. And then he gets destroyed on one, which could have been rough in the passer. But again, I think the refs were just afraid to call anything against the Lions after that offsides call. But, and he goes running, goes into the blue tent, boop, he's back out. I mean, he's just, and he's been like that his whole career, so I have a lot of respect for him. Not that he gives a shit if John Heath has respect for him. I get that, but I'm just saying I do. Now, the games tonight, again, I told you about the one going on right now, Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Buffalo fans are just the shit, man. They were shoveling snow at the stadium, in the seats, shoveling snow, and first of all, it just blows my mind that you don't have employees doing that. But the fans in Buffalo to go into the stadium, shovel snow so they can get seats, so they can have seats, everything. I mean, it's just like they're just one big family. And if I'm that Buffalo coach in the locker room, I'm saying look at what your fans do for you. Anybody that does not play your ass off for them doesn't deserve to be here, because your fans, you mean everything to this town, and you mean everything to these fans. They are literally shoveling snow so this game can happen tonight, so they can have a seat to come watch you. It is however much below zero. It's just amazing how much they love you. So anybody that's not going to bust your ass, just go home now. I mean, they deserve to see you guys go out there and play your ass off. So, and there'd be other stuff I'd say, but I just think that the fans there, and the fans just in the NFL in general, they're great. They're crazy. But Kansas City, I mean, it was so cold there. Patrick Mahomes got hit and his helmet broke because it was so cold. And it's just packed. And then, I love the NFL, but I'm very comfortable watching it on a television. So, this shows passionate fans are the best. So, it looks like, Buffalo's got it wrapped up here. They're up 31-17, and they got the ball, and there's 2:40 to go, and they're on it's second and goal. So this game's over. Now the last one, Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. I don't know what'll happen, but I know the Eagles have gone down the crapper here in the last month or so. A.J. Brown's not playing, and I'm not sure something's fishy's going on with him, because he you can always tell by their social media, whatever. And apparently he deleted stuff, and they say he's hurt. He tried to play, but he can't play and everything. So I don't know, whatever. But I blame a lot of what's going on with that. Their offensive coordinator from last year is now the head coach in Indy, and he did an amazing job with the Colts this year. So that has made a big difference, because their offense just has looked very poor, and so has their defense. So they're a mess, but this will be the epitome of can they turn it on? Can they turn the switch back on, since it's the playoffs? And we'll see what happens. But so that game should be fun tonight. In Detroit, like I said, back to them, they get to host another playoff game now. So it'll be crazy there. Good for them. Happy for them. So I think that's all my NFL stuff I got. Yes, it is. Now I'll do a quick little thing on Illinois basketball team. They, this past week, beat Michigan State by 3. Didn't play great, but won. Anytime you can, Big Ten wins are tough to come by. So, I wasn't great, but they won. And then on Sunday, they lost at home to Maryland. I am going to be completely honest. We went to church. We came home. It was about 20 below zero outside. We had the heat on, and we just got kind of snuggled up, and I took a nap, and I woke up with about 10 minutes to go in the second half, and they were down 4, and I watched it for a while, and then I just turned it off because I'm like, nope, they're not. And it was a mess, and they played terrible, and that's pretty much across the board, and it was just one of those turd games, and hopefully they'll be able to bounce back this week, but they said like 8 of the top 10 ranked teams this week got beat, and Illinois is ranked 10th. Now they're ranked 14th, I think, but that doesn't make it okay. You can't take all that stuff for granted. It's hard to win in the Big Ten and everything like that, but if you want to get to where you want to get, you can't get beat by Maryland at home. But they did, so that means they got to steal one they shouldn't win here at some point to make up for it. But I worry a little bit because with Terrence Shannon out, Underwood's always kind of kept a pretty tight rotation, and now that he's out, those guys are logging a lot of minutes, and he's only going like 6-7 deep on his bench. And they just played Thursday night, and I know that he was talking about how there's been some sickness or something like that. So I wonder if maybe there was some fatigue on Sunday, which just led to some mental errors and being sloppy, stuff like that. But that's entirely possible. But, Underwood, he's got to trust it before he'll throw you out there, and I am all for that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I remember going into the year, they're like, oh, we got so much depth this year, but Underwood never has depth because he doesn't trust a lot of guys to go out there. So, and with Shannon out, and now you're down to like literally 6, Danger makes 7, and he doesn't, depending on the matchup, he gets out there. So, we'll see what happens, but he's going to have to start trusting a couple more guys or something, because I worry about them getting kind of worn out. I think they were fatigued a little bit Sunday and just played like crap, and they got beat. But Maryland played Thursday night too, so whatever, they got beat. So this next week they got a couple more that are very winnable games, so we'll see if they get back on track. That's all I'm going to say about Illinois. Not going to spend too much time on them. Now, last but not least, winter warm-up was this week for the Cardinals. I saw. Oh, if I would have went, see, when I went, you could ask Mo questions. He's the president of baseball operations. He's the guy. For those of you that don't know, you could ask him questions, but they wouldn't let you. I don't think they let you ask. They don't let you ask the DeWitts, the owners, questions anymore. I don't think. Only the media. I think. I could be wrong. But man, I wish I'd have been there to ask them questions, because all this falls on them. They have the money. They won't spend it. There's a self-imposed salary cap, and I'd love to just raise my hand and be like, why is that? Like, well, we have a good system. We've been one of the most winning franchises. Yeah, I get it. But last year you won 71 games. So, I mean, I'd just be like, why? Like, why is there when you guys have money coming out of your ears, like, why? Well, why? Just that'd be fun to do. But some of the things that I saw, like they're saying Brendan Donovan is kind of turning into a leadership role, which I think's just fine. I love Donovan. Wasn't really aware of that, but he kind of, some of the quotes that he had and the article about him was pretty cool. So apparently he's turning into more of a kind of a leader on the team, which I think is good. Jordan Walker, apparently he's 260 now, which freaking A, let's go. I mean, he's a big, strong kid and a stud, and so he's big and strong. He's put on some weight, but I don't think it's like, and he said he spent a lot of the offseason with Okendo and William McGee to work on his fielding. That's great. That's how it should be. The new pitchers were there. Let me see what I put down here. The DeWitts were the main thing. I wish that somebody'd hold them accountable about the budget. Just because I know that there's a lot of dry powder there, as they say, and they just choose not to use it. But I Another thing, too, was there was talk about a month ago about how a Goldie extension was probably on the horizon before spring training started. And then all that kind of dissipated. And then they were talking to Mo, and he said, well, we've decided to just kind of wait into the season. So I wonder if, like, Goldie told his people, like, let's just see how we're doing here. Let's see how this plays out before we decide that, you know. Because, I don't know, or maybe it was on Mo's side, who knows, but here's what I think about all that. There's people that are like, well, don't extend him because he's going to be 30. Okay, I don't care. Here's my thing. I don't give a shit. Well, okay, shouldn't say it like that. I don't care if Goldie and Arenado play until they're 50. I'm making sure they're retiring as Cardinals. Because when you got future Hall of Famers, you keep them. I don't care how old they are. They're future Hall of Famers. So you don't let them go. You pay them. You let them play until they decide they want to retire. And then they retire. And then they get the red jackets. And that's how that rolls. Okay? If you got Goldschmidt and Arenado. Everybody, remember in 2022 when they got first and third in the NL MVP? Goldie just won the MVP in 2022. I don't care how old he is. He's 36. He's going to turn 37 during the season. Who cares? He's a future Hall of Famer. Arenado is only 32. You do not trade guys like that. Like one bad year, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's trade them so we can let's tear it down." Like they want. No. You don't do that with them. You don't do that with them. If you extended Matt Carpenter when he was washed up and he is nowhere near Goldie and Arenado's level, then you better extend Goldie too. If you're going to do that for Carpenter, because they're in no way the same player, not even on the same level as Goldie. So keep him until he retires. Keep Arenado until he retires. Pay them. Let them play first base and third base. Then they retire. And like I said, and then they go into the Cardinal Hall of Fame and probably the Baseball Hall of Fame as Cardinals. That's how that should work. You don't get rid of people like that. I don't give a shit how old they are. You don't get rid of them. Just my thoughts. It's silly. Just keep those guys. Let them play their positions, because future Hall of Famers don't like just go to complete. Okay, like Yachty. Do we keep him? I mean, okay, I know it's not the same situation, but Goldie and Arenado are two of the best players of the last. Of their generation. Goldie's one of the best first basemen of his generation, top 3 probably. Arenado's a top 3 third baseman of his generation, at least, maybe the best. So you just keep them. Who cares if they're aging? You got them. You work your ass off to get guys like that. You don't get rid of them. Keep them. So extend Goldie. Give him what he wants. Now, if it's coming from his side, I don't even blame him, because if I had the freaking DeWitts saying this and that, whatever, and doing something different, I'd wait it out too a little bit. But hopefully all that can get worked out. So, from the winter warm-up, it's all sunshine and lollipops. Everybody's all positive and things like that. But I do feel like Cardinals should be better this year. Last year it was just garbage. Ollie was there talking his normal deal, but and Mo made it sound like he's going to do this 2 more years and somebody else is going to take over. So we'll see about all that. But finish up strong, Mo. Mo annoys the hell out of me too, but I feel like sometimes we're shooting the messenger. All this is coming from the DeWitts. It's not his money. He's doing what he can. He got Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray. And then if the DeWitts are telling him to stop spending money, he can't do this, can't do that, it's not his fault. So, again, Mo is can be a little. I just feel like he's can be condescending, can be a little smug, and this and that rubs people wrong. But again, blame the DeWitts. It's not Mo's money. That's kind of where I'm landing with all this stuff. I'm way more annoyed with the DeWitts than I am Mo. So. Remember, we have Goldschmidt and Arenado because of trades that Mo made, and they were both highway robbery. So, we shall see what happens. But Okay, well, I feel like I covered everything sports-wise I was wanting to. Gonna have another one coming up Thursday here. Gonna have a lot of fun stuff coming up. You can find these, remember, on all podcasting formats. And remember also, I have stuff on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, all that good stuff. Look up Welcome to the Heath Barn. X, I changed it to Heath Barn Pod, I believe now is my name. So there's the final right there too, by the way. Buffalo 31, Pittsburgh 17, Buffalo moving on. I'm going to listen back to this bad boy, put it out, and then watch me go in there with my son and watch a little Peyton and Eli. Peyton and Eli calling the Tampa Philly game, so not calling it, but you know what I mean. Sitting on their ass, talking about the game, being fun. It's a fun watch if anybody enjoys that kind of thing. So, but all right, well, thank you for listening to this episode. jheath2286.podbean.com. For now, click on that. Get you all the episodes, all the good stuff. So, and again, Apple Podcasts, blah, 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 all down the line. Everything. Every podcasting format you can find me. So, I am John Heath. This is the Welcome to the Heath Barn podcast. Thank you for listening, and that's that.